And really what was most getting to me, what was really having me down, it was a dark time, was thinking deeply about the profound unfairness of the fiat monetary system, the profound unfairness of the impact of well-intentioned central bank activities. Well-intentioned, but the results were profoundly unfair. The exacerbation, the explosion of wealth inequality was breathtaking. We haven't even seen anything yet. The explosion and exacerbation of business inequality, so favoring big companies over small companies, is breathtaking. You know, as an individual, if you did not own assets going into 08, 09, the American dream got pretty far away.
You're left
sadly.
behind.
Yeah, you're left behind. But if you did not own assets going into March last year, the American dream is gone, man. It is a speck in the distance. And that's terrible. That's not us. That's not our country. We're the greatest country in the world. We've had enormous inflation in the American dream. We can define that as real estate and retirement as kind of two pillars of the American dream. When the Fed comes in and buys treasuries, or Fed comes in and buys RMBS, they're buying houses. So if you owned a house already, golf clap. But if you didn't, too bad. That's not fair. What's the main tool for retirement besides Social Security? It's a private version of Social Security, an income annuity. 20 years ago, for $1 million, you have about 10 to 120,000 a year in income. Now you might have 30 to 40,000 a year of income. There's been massive inflation in the American dream in the form of retirement. It's becoming are largely unaffordable. But the biggest shift that made me think about things differently in that March to August period is the impact of cash on people's portfolio, and particularly the disproportionate impact of cash on a poor person's portfolio versus a non-poor person's portfolio. So think about it. A poor person, somebody with $10,000 net worth, likely the percentage of their portfolio that is cash is 90, 95, 99, 100%. If they have a $5,000 net worth, it's probably 99, 100%. If they have a $1,000 net worth, it's probably 100%, of course, right? If they have $1 million net worth, maybe that cash percentage is 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, but not 90, not 95%. And the problem with that is cash is radically depreciating in value. Cash is no longer an asset. Cash is a liability. And the more the Fed prints, the more the non-cash portion of the wealthy person's portfolio inflates, the more the cash portion deflates. Now that doesn't matter because they've got the non-cash portion, but the poor person, they only have the cash portion. So they're out of luck. That's it. And that is just a terrible, terrible result. Bitcoin has been called wealth insurance. Who needs insurance the most of any kind? It's the most vulnerable people. The most vulnerable people need the wealth insurance. I think it's absolutely correct. And so helping less well-off people have access to Bitcoin became like this very focused effort in my mind, and it manifests itself at NYDIG every day. Bitcoin is also life insurance, though, but it's not life insurance in the sense of a big payout if you die. It's more in the sense of a big payout while you live. But it's not a big payout in the formal sense of a big pot of fiat money. It's a payout in the sense of personal sovereignty. It's a payout in the form of freedom and dignity. And when you're poor and all you have is fiat, and that's a melting ice cube of value, you lose your dignity every single day the Fed prints. And that is not okay. The good news, though, is we finally have a monetary system governed by rules, not rulers. And it's open to all. So everybody gets to choose, which is great. You can stay on the fiat standard, in which a very small group of people get to produce unlimited new units of money, just not you. Or you can opt in to the Bitcoin standard, in which no one gets to do that, including you. You can decide which is more fair. So for me, Andrew, during this time period, thinking about these kinds of thoughts, the exacerbation of wealth inequality, the profound unfairness of central bank activities, even though they're well-intentioned, I saw the awesome power of Bitcoin. And you're right, since 2013, actually, we've been involved, since 2015 in a serious way. So it wasn't new, but I saw the awesome power of Bitcoin in a new light.
So one of the sections in that letter that really stuck with me is a section titled, "What is Money?"
Mm-hmm.
And we spent our lives in the markets, traders, portfolio managers, managing money. And I always thought money was an existential question. You try to explain money to your kids, you know, they kind of know you turn it in to buy things, but what is it? What is it backed by? How do you make it? You kind of just make it. So, but there's one line in there that was an epiphany to me. And the quote is, "Money is titled to human time." So can you elaborate on your decision on how you came to that definition?
Sure. Well, let me start kind of maybe building up to that. I think that first and foremost, money is technology. Money is technology. It is, and it always has been technology. And specifically, money is technology for taking our wealth today and doing our best to make that wealth available for consumption tomorrow. So virtually all of us Americans, the way we grew up, fortunately, but we made a sort of mental mistake. We assume there's a sharp line of distinction between what's a money and what's not, and that's false. Throughout history, various monies, plural, have always coexisted along a continuum of monetary soundness. Hard money, something that's going to keep its value. Soft money, something that's not. Money's just a good. It's just a good like any other good, except what makes money as a good unique is that we value money not for its own sake, like we do other goods. We value money not for its own sake, but solely for its prospective exchange utility, which is a fancy way of saying, can we take the money and trade it in the future for stuff we actually want? No one wants green little pieces of paper. You don't and I don't. No one wants Bitcoin. What we want green little pieces of paper for, or Bitcoin for, is what those things can buy us in the future. An education, a vacation, a car, a boat, whatever. We don't want the money. We want what the money can do for us in the future. So with that as context, you're right. Money is also title to human time. Why? Because I know there's a lot of portfolio managers and traders here, and they think about trades they make every day. But the reality is the most important trades we make are the ones we make with our future selves. Whether we realize it or not, we all have a Darwinian propulsion, like that strong, towards holding the soundest money possible. We know our survival is at stake. Why is that true? Think about unsound money. So you work all day, you get your money, you store your labor in something unsound, meaning it doesn't keep its value. What happens? No food, no shelter, no mate, no reproduction. Think of the alternative. You work all day, your labor is stored in something that does keep its value, a vessel that is sound. Food, shelter, mate, reproduction.
Reproduction is kind of important.
At the end, reproduction is pretty important, right? Kind of. And it sort of follows the others. So in the same way that a stock certificate, for example, is titled to company capital, money is titled to human time. We each sacrifice our time for money. And the reason we do that is because we want to trade that time for the time sacrifices of others. So when the Fed creates $3 trillion of money in a matter of weeks by pushing a button, it consolidates the power to price and value human time. That is not okay. Humans are not supposed to have that kind of power over other humans. Time is all we have. Time is all we have.
Can you repeat that again? You bought more Bitcoin
in 2020 than the previous 5 years combined. And we're on a pace to buy even more this year. Why? Time. Bitcoin is our peaceful weapon of choice against central bank-driven time theft. Not on my watch. I'm not letting the central banks steal the time of my partners, my colleagues, and my clients. Absolutely not. Bitcoin's our peaceful weapon of choice.
Wow, that's it's deep and it's powerful, and as the title of this talk says, it's beautiful.
Well, it's also got